Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your recent, past, your current energy, and your immediate future. This week, I'm doing timeless reads. So this doesn't really have a timestamp. This is kind of just going to be, if you felt drawn to this message, if this is a reading for you, you'll definitely know it. My intention for these readings is for the people who need to hear these messages, hear them whenever they are needing to hear them. As always, I've gone ahead and pulled the overall oracle cards and clarified those. I'll be jumping into tarot. I've already shuffled that deck as well as the decks I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. The last thing I want to mention is that at the end of this reading, before I hop on over to the extended, I have an announcement that I am making about a shift in my channel. So if you are a person who is a returning viewer to my channel, or if you have a tendency to, or if you have purchased a few of my extendeds, then there could be a beneficial message for you at the end. So stick around for that. And yeah, all right. Scorpio, you guys are going through some shifts right now. And I feel like you've been through some negative shifts and now it's time for some positive shifts. Because in your recent past, you have knowledge with the death in reverse. So something kind of changed pretty abruptly or pretty intensely, or maybe both. It's pretty intense changes that you went through in your recent past. Now with this knowledge card, you learned a lot. You learned a lot through these changes, and you might not even be done learning yet. But I do see that these changes led to you gaining knowledge, gaining information that you were lacking or that you needed. And I'm not sure exactly in what that's a relation to. I don't know if it's a career change, a relationship change, or maybe a few different changes, but we will see. In your current energy, you have focus with the Four of Wands. This Four of Wands to me is really has always talked about mindset. Right now, per the law of attraction, what you focus on is what expands, right? What we give energy to, whether it be positive or negative, is what we experience. If we expect things to be difficult, things are going to be difficult. If we expect things to be easy and exciting, things will be easy and exciting. Call it the law of attraction, call it just kind of the basics of cognitive behavioral therapy, how your thoughts become your beliefs, become your actions, which becomes your reality. And so right now is really a time to focus on your mindset. Focus on where and what you are giving energy to. And maybe it's time to increase your awareness of your mindset. For me, when I first started implementing the law of attraction in my life, the biggest thing that I realized was how many of my thoughts a day were negative and self-limiting. And when you start to become aware of that, you start to be able to change them. And your overall energy for this reading is awareness and initiation. Now, these were kind of interesting when these came out because the first thing I noticed was this like almost smoke coming up. Now on this one, I like this is the awareness card. It really talks to me. This card, this image on this card is speaking about how what you think about is what you expand on. Now this one's kind of interesting because I think genie in a bottle, right? What you request is what you receive. Now, when in the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, it talks about, it's a whole book on the law of attraction, and it specifically talks about how the universe is our genie. And we are able to ask for whatever it is that we want from the universe. It's almost like this, it was written from, I think maybe early 2000s. I don't really know, but it's an older book. And it talks about how the universe is your catalog, like your shopping catalog. You can kind of just go, this is what I want. Thank you, universe. And the universe gives it to you. So this is interesting because these two cards in particular are speaking to me about specifically the law of attraction, how your awareness and what you think and what you give energy to is what creates what you experience, what creates what you want. If you give energy towards the things that you want, then you receive the things that you want. If you give energy toward all of the doubt and the lack that you feel exists in your life, well, then you're going to experience more of that. In your immediate future, you have shift with the King of Wands. I really, really like this energy because to me, this is about doing what you need to do to implement the shifts in your life. It's kind of funny to me how we as humans, we have a tendency to settle ourselves into this victim role, and we say, I don't have control over my life. Everything that happens just kind of happens. Like, that's not how the world works. And it's like, okay, sure, you can believe that and you'll experience that. Or you can believe the opposite. You can believe that anything is possible and you are able to create whatever you want in this world based on the way that you think. Now, it's really up to you what you experience. You've had philosophers um, and spiritualists talking about this for as long as we even know how we can create our world based on our thoughts, and it really is up to you whether or not to believe it. We can either choose to be a victim to our experiences, or we can choose to create our own. But let's dive in here. Let's see what you are dealing with, were dealing with, Scorpio, in your recent past. This is recent past for Scorpio. I will say it was kind of when I shuffled both this deck and then this tarot deck, at the bottom of the deck, you had the Eight of Pentacles in reverse on both decks. I thought that was kind of interesting. But to me, it just seems like this is really speaking about your doubt in what you're trying to build. Now, it's either doubt that it's going to be successful, or doubt that it's going to be it's going to make you happy, or doubt that you're investing in the right thing. Whatever the doubt is going to be individual for your certain experience. But there's a lot of doubt in whatever it is that you're trying to create or manifest. And when I talk about manifest, that literally just means what you're trying to build, what you're trying to bring into your reality. All right, recent past for Scorpio. So you were dealing with some pretty intense changes, Scorpio, in your recent past. Recent past for Scorpio, please. Yeah. Okay. Something that was a source of stability for you, there was some sort of separation from. So that's what this big change was. It was almost like something that created stability for you was kind of was removed, or there was separation from it. I kind of want more on that message. Something that provided you with stability. And it's material stability. It's not even really emotional stability. It's material stability. It's Five of Swords or the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. Okay, yeah. So it's something that made you feel stable, like maybe it was a relationship that provided you with a sense of stability, materialism, in terms of you relied on them for money, or you don't have to solely rely on them, or like you guys shared a home together, or something about your material stability revolved around this thing, but your emotional stability wasn't really there. It didn't really make you happy. It didn't make you feel safe emotionally. It made you feel safe physically, but not emotionally. This message right here, the Five of Swords or the Ace of Swords, this really speaks of realizing, it's like, for lack of a better word, whatever this was and why it got taken from you, because I feel like that's what I feel like. I feel like you feel like it got taken from you. It was because you were settling. You were settling for it because it didn't make you feel good. It made you seem safe. It was almost like a false sense of security. Now, when I talk about a false sense of security, it doesn't mean that it wasn't valid the way that you felt about it, but you didn't actually need it, even though you feel like you did. Let's get more. This is recent past for Scorpio. Recent past for Scorpio. Say you might feel like you needed it, but okay, hang on, we'll get there. Recent past for Scorpio. There's the Knight of Wands. You actually could have been the one to take a leap of faith away from this. You didn't have to be the one. But there was almost like this really big movement away from it. Knight of Wands, the Six of Swords in reverse, and the Fool. Because whatever this situation was, it was actually keeping you stuck. It was keeping you from whatever new beginning, whatever shift it is that you're wanting. which to me feels like the start of something new, especially with this initiation card, the start of something new. So something in your recent past was actually keeping you. And it's interesting to me because it feels like the stability that you were looking for through your recent past is actually going to be created by the loss of it. But let's get more. This is more on Scorpio's recent past. It's almost like this was in your way. Recent past for Scorpio. Recent past, there's the Five of Swords again. But you didn't feel like the universe had your back. So you settle, when we settle in life, it's because we don't believe that there's better for us out there. We don't believe that what we ultimately want is possible. Remember, and I talk about this in almost every single reading I do, that 95% of your movements, choices, decisions, actions, reactions, responses to your reality is subconscious. 95%, which means that the majority of how we're interacting with our world and the decisions and the choices that we're making, we actually don't have conscious control of. Now, your subconscious is going to be a result of what you think. What you think, what you have thought about, and what you have been taught since you were a kid is how you've internalized your experiences and what you now believe about yourself and how this world works. And so your belief system is what has created your reality to this point. So of course you settled because you didn't feel on some level like what you were actually wanting is possible. Meaning you might have had a relationship that checked some boxes but not others. It might have been like good on paper, but it didn't make you feel good. Or it could have been a job that paid you really well, but it didn't actually provide you with any kind of emotional fulfillment, but you thought you needed it because you needed the financial stability, and pursuing some sort of a passion wouldn't provide you with that financial stability. These beliefs about your reality is what you have continued to experience. And so in your recent past, the reason that you had to separate from this is because it needed to teach you that you were deserving of more than whatever it was that you were settling for. Let's shift to Scorpio's current energy. You have focus with the Four of Wands. Focus with the Four of Wands. Goodness, okay. Focus with the Four of Wands, please. Okay, so now I feel like since this change happened, it doesn't necessarily, I feel like you don't really see it as a loss. I feel like maybe you did at one point, but you don't really now. I'm not sure. I don't want to get too specific in a general reading, but right now I feel like you are trying to rebuild. You're trying to build something. You're trying to create something. Because there's the Eight of Pentacles, which is funny because this is the card, well, it was in reverse, but this is the card that I said I saw on the bottom of the deck when I shuffled. You have the Six of Wands in reverse, which means that you lack a lot of hope in what you're trying to build. You don't believe that whatever it is you're trying to create is possible. And the reason why, Scorpio, is because for the first time, you are actually choosing yourself. So you're choosing yourself, and you're choosing your path, and you're choosing what's best for you. You're choosing to put yourself first. And no, you might not be perfect at it. You might still slip up, and sometimes you might make mistakes and this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, you are putting yourself first for the first time, possibly in your life. And so a lot of your doubt is coming through right now because I feel like you're like, well, for my whole life, I've always settled. I've always given away energy to people that didn't deserve it so that I could receive the bare minimum. Or I've always given away energy to careers that didn't really deserve me because I needed the financial abundance. Like it just has always felt like your whole life you've been giving to things that didn't deserve you because you have been. And so in your current energy, it's almost like not only are you rebuilding in your material world, and this is why this law of attraction thing is coming through so much, you're also rebuilding you. You are reframing those limiting beliefs that are stored in your subconscious about what you don't think is possible, what you don't think you're capable of, what you don't think that you're deserving of, you are also rebuilding those beliefs, and those beliefs are slowly but surely being reflected back at you and your circumstances. So right now is a time to really, and I know I said this at the beginning, but it's coming through even more now, really, really pay attention to your mindset, because your mindset is really, truly creating your reality right now. I feel like more so than you've ever experienced. So that's why you have focus with the Four of Wands. Focus on your mindset. Catch yourself when you start thinking these hopeless, limiting kind of thoughts, because the second that you can catch it is the second you can change it. Sit there, and something that I've learned to do is you have to reframe it. As soon as I say, what is something like, I am never going to be able to buy myself my own home, right? I'm a tarot reader. That seems pretty out there, right? I'm never going to be able to buy myself my own home. As soon as I catch myself thinking that, I reframe it with, I will be financially able to purchase a home for myself when the time is right, within divine timing. And even just changing the way that I view that, it takes the anxiety away in the moment. And it allows me to stop giving energy to my doubts and start giving energy to the possibility of things. We can either choose to be a product of what we've experienced or a product of what we're trying to create. It is literally up to us. And so many people, especially it's funny because I see it all the time. Obviously, being a tarot reader for a living, and for the first little bit of being a reader, I wouldn't tell people what I did. Oh, I'm a life coach. I'm a mindset coach. I'm a manifestation coach. I had my way around saying what I actually do. And although I do consider myself a spiritual coach as well, at the end of the day, I am a tarot reader. So I started telling people, I'm a tarot reader, and you see their expression in the moment, and I promise this is going somewhere. And it's interesting because in the past, I used to allow the way that people thought about my career affect how I viewed my own beliefs. Like, well, maybe they're right. Maybe this is silly. Maybe I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And then you can get into a spiral really, really quick. And whenever I'd let that happen, I would watch my business suffer. I'd watch myself receive less views, receive less money, receive less personal reading requests, when I started letting my outside environment affect how I felt about my reality, how I felt about what was possible for me. And so what I'm getting at is, whenever you experience those doubts, when you can reframe them, that is how you create the reality you're looking for. So dive more into your mindset and think less about what you're experiencing, because your experiences are merely a product of what you thought in the past. Therefore, your future experiences are going to be a product of what you're thinking now. Current energy for Scorpio. Goodness, these cards, kind of a stubborn energy in your current energy. Maybe that's why it's really talking about focusing on your mindset. Current energy for Scorpio. Ooh, okay. Okay, you have the Artist, the Page of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups in reverse with the Four of Swords in reverse. This Artist card is one of 2 additional major arcanas in this deck, and I love this card because you can see it literally is taking in, that concept in spirituality: as above, so below, as within, so without. He's literally creating his life from above, as above, so below. Creating, your life from within, creating it based on your thoughts, your beliefs, and your reality, your actions. The way that I'm viewing this message is, there is some sort of an opportunity that you are wanting in your life: financial abundance, attracting the love that you deserve, feeling stable, feeling secure, feeling successful, feeling whatever it is. Maybe it's many things, But what you're missing, Scorpio, is that you have to be the one to create it. And this was the hardest thing for me to learn on this journey, was that I am more in control of my circumstances than I realize. But it's not by what I do in my circumstances. In fact, I've actually changed very little about what I actually do on a day-to-day basis. I have, however, changed the way that I think. And so that has shifted my reality and my perspective of it and what I experience, because it changes the part of me within that has been reflected without. And so this really is, this whole reading, Scorpio, is about you creating reality because you're burnt out. You're tired of the same old, same old. You're tired of experiencing the same lack. You're tired of experiencing the same situations repeating itself, maybe in relationships or in your career and your financial situation. You're tired of it. Of course you are. Who wouldn't be, right? You have every right to be tired of it. But this is when you have to realize that you've got to take your power back. You've got to use your awareness of the way that you think to make the shifts that you are wanting to make. You have so much more power than you realize. So much more power than you realize. And I feel like it's interesting because a lot of my readings this week in particular, have been about this exact concept. You have more power than you think you do. The fact that we create our own reality. It just feels like everyone right now is kind of going through this period of, man, I wish things were different, and needing to realize, okay, great, then change them. You have the ability to make the changes you want. And even if you don't know what those are going to be materially yet, make them within first. Set your intentions to align with what you're trying to build and not with what you expect to lack. Current energy for Scorpio. Ooh. Okay, so this is tying it back to your recent past. You have the Ten of Swords with the Hierophant. This Ten of Swords in your recent past, because this is a card of wisdom, of knowledge, of learning, actually very similar to this knowledge card. You went through this. You went through some major pain, some major, possibly traumatic experiences, betrayal, having the rug ripped out from underneath you, whatever the case is for you, all of the above maybe. And what you don't realize is that once you can look at this from a place of, what was that trying to teach me? You'll be able to use that wisdom and knowledge to change your actual reality. Because here's the thing. This situation here, I don't think you're going to want to hear this. But it needed to happen. Why did this need to happen? Why did this situation need to happen for Scorpio? Why did this Ten of Swords need to happen? Five of Pentacles in reverse with that same Page of Pentacles. With the Four of Wands in reverse, the same as that Four of Wands right there. Okay, so, okay. We talked about how you've been settling, right? You've been settling for people, things, careers, financial abundance that, quite honestly, is much less than what you deserve. And it's almost like this situation and what happened, it needed to happen so that you said, I am never going to let that happen again. I am never going to settle like that again so that that situation repeats itself. It almost had to break, not almost, it feels like it broke a cycle for you. Because it changed your mindset from a place of, this is as good as it gets, to, I can create anything that I desire. And that shift right there is what was very much needed. And I feel like you're going through the shift because in your immediate future, you have the shift. So the actual shift you're looking for is happening. It's in the process of happening, but you are creating it, or should be, or need to be focusing on creating it through the way you view why this had to happen. Now, when I talk about the law of attraction, the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne talks about this too, is the hardest thing to come to terms with is to realize that, yes, your current circumstances are a product of what you've experienced. And the first thing that people tell me when I say that is, what I went through wasn't my fault. That pain that I went through wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with that. That was all XYZ. That was all them. That was all that situation. That had nothing, that it wasn't my fault. Okay, sure, absolutely. It was not your fault that you were treated the way you were, that you've been treated with lack, and you've been treated with just less than you deserve. It's not your fault. It is, however, this need to realize that part of that 95% of you that you aren't consciously aware of has manifested into your reality. Part of what you believe that you are deserving of less, that you feel you have to settle, that you feel you have to struggle for love or be in survival mode or fight for whatever it is that you, and ultimately to me, Scorpio, it feels like survival mode. It almost feels like you have this belief that survival mode is the only way. And that within itself is keeping you from being able to experience the abundance you're ultimately wanting. So this situation happened to almost make you realize that you don't have to put up with it. Like you don't have to experience that kind of reality anymore. It literally feels like it happened to teach you that you can have better. Now, it hurt and it was painful, and I feel like it took a lot to, it is taking a lot to be able to pick yourself back up from it. So right now it might be really hard to see the other side, right? Um, But that's why your focus right now is on your mindset. Your focus is on your awareness, should be. All right, immediate future for Scorpio. And trust me, when I was at my absolute lowest point, like lowest point, the hardest thing for me to see was that it was happening for me, not to me, right? It always is. But when you start to realize that things falling apart is actually a door opening for things to fall together, then you stop looking at what happened to you as I am a victim of that experience, and you start looking at it as, sure, yes, I was a victim in that situation. However, I can use what I experienced to transform my life in positive ways. And that takes you out of victimhood and puts you into survivor mode. I'm a survivor and a creator instead of I'm a victim and I always lose, because that will continue to be what you experience. Why can't I shuffle these cards today? Okay. Immediate future for Scorpio. Immediate future for Scorpio. Ten of Wands in reverse with the Strength. This is cool. This is you dropping, because I feel like you've been carrying around. I want more on this Ten of Wands. I want to know exactly what this burden is. You've been carrying around a burden, and this burden's been blocking you. But what exactly is this burden that Scorpio's been carrying? What exactly is this burden? Look at that. The Death. This card. Right here. Whatever changed. You've been looking at this situation, this Tower moment. Now, this Death could be, no, it's in reverse. What happened to you in your past, you've been carrying around as a burden. It's almost like you've been weighed down by your experiences. But why? That couldn't have been a cooler message. Okay, but why? Why has Scorpio been weighed down by their experiences? So the burden was whatever changed. The burden was whatever ended or came to, I don't want those because it's too many. Clear, concise messages. Why? Because you didn't think you could ever have what you really wanted. Because here's this cycle. You have the Temperance in reverse with the World in reverse. This is literally like you didn't believe that what you wanted was ever coming. So you looked at your past as, this is as good as it gets. I lost as good as it gets. I have lost everything that I wanted. That's what your belief has been. And that belief has been what is blocking you from what you ultimately want. You didn't lose what you wanted. You lost what you thought you wanted because it was as good as it got for you. But just because it was as good as you've ever experienced doesn't mean it's as good as it can get. And that's why it's being replaced with this strength, this faith, this this faith in the possibility. And that's what I talk about all the time. You know, I talk about we can either be a product of of what we've experienced. You can believe in alignment with what you've experienced, or you can choose to believe what you want to experience and experience those things instead. But it really is a choice. Immediate future for Scorpio. Immediate future for Scorpio, please. This is the positive shift you've been waiting for, Scorpio, and it's coming. Immediate future for Scorpio. It's coming in hot. But you're going to have to be the one to create it. Remember that. You're the one who has to build it. Immediate future for Scorpio, please. Immediate future for Scorpio. A lot of cups. You have the Page of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Seven of Cups. There's a lot of cups here. You need to get very clear on what you want. Not what you think is possible. Get very clear on what you want. In a perfect world, if you had a magic wand, if the universe was really a catalog, I just forgot the word, and you could pick anything you wanted, the financial abundance you wanted, the relationship you wanted, the life you wanted, if you could pick anything that you wanted, what would it be? Not what specific person, not what specific outcome or how exactly, try to think of it. I always say when I talk about manifestation, try not to be like, I want to be with this person and I want to have this many, kids or whatever the case is. Try to be like, I want to feel abundant. I want to feel like I'm in a relationship with the perfect person for me. I want to feel like I am in a career that provides me with the ability to be passionate about what I do, but also receive the financial abundance that I want to support the lifestyle that I look for. Try to think a little bit outside the box. Now you can get specific about some things. I want a person who is respectful and compassionate and, whatever the case is, but try to think outside the box and don't focus on specifics, because the more that you do that, like what I'm getting at is if you've lost what you wanted, what you think you wanted, try not to be like, I want that back. I want this situation back. I want my life to go back to what it was. Try not to do that, because that will keep you from being able to manifest what you ultimately want, to be able to create what you ultimately want. But you've got to get really clear about the life that you want to live. Look at someone who's living your life. If there's someone out there that's living the life that you want, be like, I want that life. And then start to align your intentions with creating that life. Now, you might, again, don't get caught up in wanting to be somebody else, right? But literally, like, it's crazy because we look at other people and we say, okay, I want that life, right? But that life isn't possible for me. Why? Per the law of oneness, what is possible for one person is possible for you. What is possible for one person is possible for all. Therefore, the reason, and I saw this on something, was it yesterday? Past few days, and it kind of like opened my eyes to this. It was like, remember that there are people who are way less qualified than you, but doing what you want to do, and the only reason that they are able to do what they want to do and what you ultimately want to do is because they worked through their fear. It's because they worked through all of the reasons why they didn't think it was possible to do what they wanted to do. Sure, people get a head start financially. People have more open doors than you might have. You can think of all of the excuses to why what you want isn't possible. But that's what's in your way, right? So in your immediate future, starting right now, get very, very clear about the life you want to live, and then start to believe with all of your heart that it's possible. And I feel like you will really, really get kind of amazed with how things start falling into place for you. Immediate future for Scorpio. I hope that made sense. I feel like this is a long reading. This always happens when I drink coffee, talk more. There's the Lovers and the Knight of Cups. I mean, this is exactly what it's almost like this is you realizing that what you're deserving of. So it's not even just about what you want, right? Sure, we all have desires, but it's what am I deserving of? What you want is what you're deserving of. But the reason you don't feel like it's the reason that you doubt it's actually what you want, or that you doubt that it's possible for you, or whatever the case is because you don't feel deserving of it. So therefore, you have been unable to create it. All right, Scorpio, we are going to hop on over to the extended, but first, in the extended, I'm going to clarify these messages and dive into advice, and then I have actual advice card to pull for you at the end. But the announcement that I want to make before we jump on over is that I have started a Patreon account. So every single extended on my channel is $5. But my Patreon account is going to be $10 per month, and it's going to provide you with access to all of the extended readings on my channel for every single zodiac sign from this reading moving forward, from this week's reading. So this is like I think the third to last reading I'm doing. Yeah, I only have 2 more after this. So from this week's reading forward, they will all be out there. Past readings will not, but a couple of things to mention about it. First and foremost is that I tend to upload my extended readings before I release these readings because these readings are on a schedule. So I recommend not following my Patreon account as much, but the link for the Patreon videos for the extended will still be in the description box along with the other. So right now I have Selfie. You can click on that link and go purchase the extended for $5, or you'll have the link to my Patreon. You can click on that. You can subscribe for $10 a month, and then that will provide you with access to all of the readings on my channel. Another thing that I want to mention about it, and it's kind of annoying, and I wish I could change this, but I couldn't. I even looked into support and everything, is that for every single time I upload a reading to Patreon, the default is that it sends my subscribers an email. And that's really annoying because I'm uploading 2 to 3 a day. So my recommendation, just the first one you receive, scroll to the bottom, hit unsubscribe. It's super easy. You can receive the emails if you want. I just didn't want you guys to think that I'm trying to spam you with emails, because that's never my intention. I do not want to annoy you into watching my readings. I truly am here to help you guys. All right. I know that I say it every week, but your support of my channel means the absolute world to me. Truly, 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 it does. It's such a blessing that I get to do this for a living, and you guys make that possible. So thank you. I do hope that these readings continue to help provide you with the messages that you're needing to move forward in alignment with your higher self, considering that is my intention. And I wish you absolutely nothing but love and healing on your journey. Right. Bye, Scorpio. Maybe. My goodness. Okay, bye.